It's hard to believe it's been 10 years since Nissan replaced its ageing Almera hatchback and its Primera saloon with an SUV that wore a funny name. But now in its 10th anniversary, Nissan has treated the Qashqai SUV to a little makeover.
It's a bit of a nip and tuck on the outside, with a couple of new colours, including this vivid blue, new alloys and body styling. The most striking of all is the new grille and headlights, and a set of new rear lights.
On first inspection, however, it would seem as though Nissan hasn't bothered with the interior because it all looks pretty much identical to the old car. Stare a little bit harder and you will notice the new steering wheel. It's taken from the Nissan Micra and it's covered in some nice feeling leather. On this particular trim level, we've got some brand new quilted leather seats, and there are a few trim differences, like there's a new piece of trim that goes around the dashboard, but generally speaking it is starting to feel its age in here, especially when you compare this car to the brand new Peugeot 3008. Nissan says the infotainment system is all new as well, although it doesn't look it. It is still very easy to use, especially with these shortcut buttons, but the screen is still very small, the graphics are a bit grainy, and if you go for the parking camera, the resolution isn't particularly good on it either. Now, on this early pre-production car, the quality is still very good. There's lots of soft touch plastics around the cabin, and generally speaking it all feels pretty well made. Now, the door bins don't pass the Carbuyer big bottle test, but the Glovebox most certainly does. It's large enough for a 1.5 litre bottle of water. We've got a couple of cup holders down here, and under the central cubby we've got a large space that's big enough for a large packet of crisps, with a couple of charging ports as well. Now, all models are pretty well equipped, but I would recommend going for the mid-spec n-connecta model because it has everything you really need. But later on in 2017 you will be able to order your Qashqai with something called Pro Pilot. Now, it's a system that steers, brakes and accelerates the Qashqai in its own lane on the motorway. Clever stuff, eh?
All Qashqais come with LED daytime running lights and a DAB radio, while this range-topping Techno Plus gets leather seats, a panoramic roof, a Bose stereo, 19-inch alloys and safety kit including blind spot warning, moving object detection, intelligent driver alert and rear cross traffic alert. But we'd go for the mid-range n-connecta, as it's the best value, with its standard 18-inch alloys, sports seats, kick plates and Nissan's new touchscreen with sat-nav.
Back here, and there's a good amount of space. Now, that seat is set up in my driving position. I'm over 5'10", and as you can see there's plenty of knee room. And even with this panoramic glass roof we've got a good amount of headroom as well. Now, of course there are i6 points in both outer seats. In the armrest there's a couple of cup holders as well, and you can just about fit 3 people back here. There is a small hump to haul yourself over, and once you're in the middle, headroom is a little bit tight and it is a bit hard and uncomfortable sitting here, but for short journeys it will be fine. The only other niggle back here is the rake of these seats. Now, the base is a little bit flat, which does mean there isn't too much support for your thighs, but like I say, it is a bit of a niggle, that's all, because generally speaking, space in the back of the Nissan Qashqai is pretty good. Round to the back, and the Qashqai has actually got quite a large boot. Now, it's not the largest in the class by any means, but it's still of a good size. Now, there's no lip whatsoever, and you can have a movable boot floor on all Qashqais apart from the entry-level one. And the big advantage to that is that there's some storage underneath it, and when you fold down the rear seats, which is quite straightforward, you've got a completely flat loading area. Now, if I just grab all of the Carbuyer suitcases, you can see the real advantages to having a flat loading area, because it means that you can just slide your luggage all the way to the front of the boot, giving you some really good extra loading space. And there you can see the boot is pretty large.
Nissan hasn't messed around with the engine range, so there's still the choice of a 113 bhp 1.2 litre turbo petrol, a 1.6 turbo petrol with 161 bhp and a couple of diesels. 108 bhp 1.5 and a 1.6 with 128 bhp. Unsurprisingly, it's the 1.5 that's the greenest, and Nissan says it should return over 70 mpg.
In recent years, a diesel engine has seemed like the perfect fit in a small SUV, but don't be so quick to dismiss the petrols. Now, there are two of them. The 1.6 is better than the 1.2 if you actually want to make any progress, because the smaller engined one is a little bit asthmatic. But the 1.6 is nice and punchy and is very smooth. But if you do want diesel, then both are very good. The 1.6 is smoother than the 1.5, and it also comes with four-wheel drive should you want it. But this is the 1.5 we've got here, and it is smooth enough. It's pretty quiet as well, and it should deliver decent fuel economy. Now, Nissan says you should be getting around 74. We're getting around 50, which isn't too bad at all. Now, there's a choice of two gearboxes, a 6-speed manual, which is a little bit notchy if I'm being honest with you, but it is a damn sight better than the CVT. Now, Nissan has tried hard to make the CVT feel like a conventional automatic, and whilst they have done quite a good job, it's still a little bit too revvy.
The new Qashqai is also a little quieter on the road too, thanks to some new sound deadening, and it shows. Generally, the Qashqai is a refined and quiet car on the move.
Nissan hasn't done anything to the way the Qashqai drives though. That's not to say it drives particularly badly. It's very smooth, very comfortable, very quiet. It's just that a Mazda CX-5 is more involving to drive. The steering on the Qashqai is a little bit rubbery, and when you hurl this into corners in an enthusiastic way, you just get the sense the Qashqai doesn't particularly enjoy it. But like I say, it is comfortable enough. The weightings of the pedals are absolutely fine, and the Qashqai is just a very pleasant car to drive. Negatives? Well, there are just a couple. The visibility over my shoulder isn't particularly good, and like I said earlier on, the cabin, whilst it is very easy to use, it just isn't that particularly exciting.
And that sums up the Qashqai really. Perhaps the improvements aren't as far-reaching as they could be, but you could say, why would Nissan want to change an already popular recipe? The Qashqai is decent to drive, has loads of safety kit, and is spacious enough for most. If you like this video, you can watch our review of the Peugeot 3008 at the top and our SUVs playlist. Don't forget to give this video the thumbs up and subscribe to our channel by pressing the Carbuyer logo.